Good morning. Hey, I'm Charlotte Smith and with the Profitable Farm private Facebook group. Welcome. It's Wednesday, so I'm doing doing our live video on a different week or a different day. The last few weeks it's been Fridays, but I'm trying to figure out what the best day is for our back to school schedule, etc. So if you're here watching, sorry about that. I got a phone call right in the middle, so I didn't answer it. If you're here live, click like, so I know I have some viewers out there. The other thing is my trusty sidekick, Hayden, my daughter, who gives me all the critique, both good and bad, is not here right now. So if you see something funky in the video, let me know so I can fix that. She's got to go hold the farm store open on Wednesdays, so I'm here without her. This group has been so wonderful. If you have not poked around the group and seen some of the questions, please do so. We have some amazing conversations going on about feed, GMO-free feed, etc. There's some conversations going on in the Facebook group about fly spray, natural fly spray. So many great ideas in there that I didn't know about. There's questions about milking equipment and all. So poke around the group, the Facebook page, and see what's going on. There's just all kinds of discussions and to get involved in, and remember, it's very positive. Also, if you have any questions at all, keep them coming. We have a whole slew of them to get through. Thank you, Mariah. I appreciate that. And if you have a question, chances are there are a lot of other people with the same question, because I'm getting lots of, dittos when people post a question. And there's some people who are afraid to ask a question, so you can take the lead and take the initiative and ask the question in service of somebody else. So thank you again for being here. Now I want to get to today's question. This is from Sally in the private Facebook group, Sally Haldener. She says, I got a call last week from a company that creates golf course guides and gets local businesses to sponsor each hole in the guide with about a half-page ad. For only $375, they would take your logo and artwork and create an ad for you, and your ad would be in the guide for a whole year. It all looked legit and was for a nearby golf course. I just don't know if this is a wise advertising avenue for our farm. The people seeing this ad would definitely have the income level to afford our products, but I don't know if it's targeted enough or if specific wording could be used in an ad to create interest. What do you think? So Sally's question, to sum up, is about placing an ad in a local golf course and guide. And then Chrissy said yes, and a lot of people said yes, they want to know the answer to that question, or at least my opinion. Chrissy also wants to touch on listing on the Weston A. Price Foundation list, local raw milk lists, etc. Those are free, but I sometimes wonder if I'm setting myself up for a raid by the CDC. So I'll tackle that one second. So as all these questions have been, often you guys think you're asking just a really easy little question, but there's a very in-depth answer, and there's a level of understanding that when you educate yourself on, it'll make your decision making easy in the future. So advertising and buying ads. Let me explain. The idea of advertising is super outdated. It worked up until like 20 years ago, or the advent of the internet. Only many industries are way behind that. Farming especially is way, way, way behind in updated. They do not practice updated marketing techniques. So the fact that you're here learning this, you're going to be so far ahead of the game. The reason advertising doesn't work is in the 50s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, even a little bit into the 80s, there's one thing that ad companies could count on, and that is that every American had a TV in their home. Probably, we have some people from other countries on this group too. So pretty much, England, Australia, New Zealand, they counted on the fact that most of us had TVs in our home. So if you paid for an ad on TV, you had an audience. You had a guaranteed audience. So just think back to Palmolive. I love that commercial. Palmolive, Madge. Remember that? Just playing over and over again. And so, Palmolive is huge. Wheaties, all those cereals, pretty much any advertising on TV was guaranteed that people would go out and buy that product. Now, like I said, things have changed. That doesn't work today. Advertising is really kind of obsolete when you're advertising in places like that. People buy based on relationship. And Sally, if you haven't signed up for our website emails, I talk about this in many of my blog posts. So be sure and go back and read those. And it will give you, it'll probably turn your mindset 180 degrees to where, marketing is today. It's relationship based. So I want to take it one step further and try and do an analogy. It's as if, and remember, this worked up until 20 years or the last 10 to 20 years or so. It's placing an ad in a random place, like a golf course guide or even TV or radio, because, people are on the internet. It's as if, say, some boy is taking your daughter, or you if you're dating, but taking your daughter out on a date for the first time, and he comes to the house and he picks up your daughter and he drives down the road and he stops the car and he grabs her hand and goes in for a kiss. And she's going to slap him away, isn't she? And she's going to say, listen, you don't know me. You haven't asked me anything about myself. You haven't tried to get to know me. You, all you're doing is trying to kiss me and take something for you, and that, I know it's a kind of a crazy analogy, but that's what advertising does. It's you are in someone's face asking them to give something to you, and you have not even built any relationship with them. You haven't tried to learn about them. You haven't asked them about themselves. So shocking analogy maybe, but use it to really change. Hopefully that'll really change your thinking on what advertising is. That's what advertising does. So the short answer is, if you pay $375, it's a big waste of money. There are so many better, cheaper ways to build relationship with people so they will buy from you. You may get a one-off purchase, but people buy because they have a relationship with you, or one of their friends has a relationship with you. We hear all the time from people, they say, my friend so-and-so said we just have to come to your store. Well, I don't have a relationship with that person yet, but their friend has a relationship with me, so because of that, they're buying from me. That's your goal. And it's not like you can find the right place to advertise. Sometimes I have people email and say, I'm advertising here, but that doesn't work. What's the best place to advertise? There is no best place to advertise anymore. The world is so diluted with places that, advertising doesn't work. You've got to go back to building relationship. And make sure, if you have not taken our free course, how to set up your email, online email marketing service, that's the only way you're going to be able to build relationship with these people, because you can't build relationship with 500 people by, taking them out to dinner and out to coffee. That's not going to work. In today's day and age, you do that through email marketing. You give of yourself, you learn about your customers, and you give to them, you give them all kinds of free things. And only then do you earn the right to say, please purchase our meat or whatever. Sally, I took the liberty of looking at your Facebook page too. And, oh good, Hayden's on here, so it must be she. So Hayden, tell me if my lipstick is wrong or something. I appreciate everyone who's on here. Also, if you have a question, feel free to type it in the chat box too. But Sally, I looked at your Facebook page, and if you have not listened to last week's live video, which is, if you go to the top of the Profitable Farm Facebook page, click on files, all the videos are in there. Watch last week's live video training, because I talk about Facebook page. Thanks, Hayden. And you could benefit from listening to that and making some adjustments, because your Facebook page is all about selling. And you have some beautiful products. Look at those fat, juicy, plump chickens. You need to be getting those out in front of people, but this is not the way. You've got to build relationship with them first. And only then, as a side note, can you say, hey, we've got these fat, juicy, plump, meaty chickens for sale, and they'll buy some. So please watch that video, because you could learn a lot for instance, your picture on heritage breed turkey parts. Watch the video and you'll see what I mean about that. So on your Facebook page, you are just advertising. That's all you're doing. So you're not getting any engagement. You're not building relationship with people. And that is 100% of what I teach and what I talk about. I send the same message every time we talk. And when you asked this question, I even said if any of my graduates of our course are on this live video, they will know my answer to your question of where is the best place to advertise. And it's that advertising doesn't work. You've got to go back to building relationship with your customers, finding out and identifying who your ideal customer is, where they hang out, what they like, build relationship with them. And then once in a while, you market something to them. You invite them to make a purchase from you, but not very often. 80% of what you have to do has to be relationship building. So let me know if you have questions on there. And hey, Red Hills Farms, thank you. Thanks all you guys for tuning in and watching. I appreciate that. So I'm going to do the follow-up question that Chrissy Jensen asked. And Chrissy, just let me say, you're amazing. You have 12 children. I don't know if anyone else in the group has 12 children. I have a friend with 13 children, but otherwise, I don't know how you do it. I can barely keep up with 3. I only have 1 at home. I could barely keep up with 1. So God bless you for raising 12 children and still milking cows. It's wonderful. But Chrissy said, can you touch on listing on the Weston A. Price Foundation list or local raw milk lists? Those are free places. She's talking about advertising. But I wonder if I'm setting myself up for a raid by the CDC. So, Chrissy, this is where each of you in this group who are selling raw milk, you need to know your state's laws, but also your culture. So we're in Oregon, so we have some laws, but the culture the laws are 3 cows or fewer, and you have to sell the milk on the farm. You can't deliver. It can't be in stores or anything. There is no ruling on herd shares. So we have a culture, though, that there are no raw milk police in Oregon running around checking in. You know, they aren't driving up to see if I have 3 cows or 4 cows or what. Or two cows in milk, 1 cow that's dry. They don't have the resources to do that. I would never tell you to break the law. I can't. And if you don't know, I'm a board member on the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund. So I'd be a huge conflict of interest. I'm not telling you to break the law, but what I'm saying is know your state's culture on raw milk. Oregon, they tolerate us. They say, our Department of Ag says, if you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. So therefore, I have no problem. I'm on realmilk.com. It's a free listing. I don't really get any business off of there. So again, it's like advertising. You won't get, maybe 1 or 2 customers a year, which is not going to make your farm sustainable. But you can go ahead and go on those free places if you're not concerned about your state. I hear Wisconsin is pretty hostile towards raw milk producers. If that's true, then I don't think I would list on free sites because you aren't going to get business off of free sites anyway, so you have too much to lose. So really just know your state laws and your raw milk culture in your state as far as that goes. In Oregon, up until 1 year ago, we were not allowed to advertise our raw milk. It was illegal to advertise, yet people were putting it on Craigslist, and there were some ways around that. And every once in a while, you'd see a sign by the road that said raw milk for sale. And every once in a while, you'd hear of someone pulling in and saying, listen, somebody called us at the Department of Ag, and you got to take your sign down. So it's very low key. That's Oregon. So it's really important what your culture will allow you to do. All right. Any more questions on advertising or best places to advertise? Feel free to put those in there because I'm just about wrapped up on. Hopefully you get the point that advertising doesn't work. And if you are just tuning into the video, I explained at the beginning that, that was good in the past when there was one place to advertise, and that was TV or maybe radio, and all your, you knew you had a captive audience that would buy from you. Today, though, in the internet age, people buy based on relationships. So you've got to go back and set up your email marketing software. It's free for the first 1,000 people, and it's going to take you a long time to reach that 1,000, more than likely, really qualified people. And a website can cost $12 a month, so they can put their name and sign up for your emails on your website, and then you start building relationship with them by sending them an email every couple weeks, couple times a month, year round. And you will then have a captive audience that loves you and adores you. And then you might market something to them that's for sale on your farm, every once in a while, but you're not sending out advertising emails. It's very different than relationship building emails. So that's the only thing that is really going to work in today's day and age. And farmers who are doing this, who are building relationship with their customers, are seeing their sustainability grow and their profits grow. When it used to take them 6 months to sell a side of beef, it takes them 10 minutes. We're hearing all kinds of stories like that. So a relationship-based marketing plan, especially through email, is really the way that you're going to build your business. This $375 for an ad in a golf course guide is a huge waste of money. And let's see. So then I'm going to shift gears. I don't see any questions coming up there. So if you have them, let me know. I'll go back. But I'm going to shift gears just for a second. Rich Radke asked a question that's interesting. He said, we've got the means, if we have the means, and I don't mind taking the risk, what's your take on broadcasting live streams from the barn? He says calf barn, nursery, birthing pen, and or milking parlor, etc. That's a really interesting question. And he said, what's my take? So I'm going to give you my take. My experience dealing with the public that is not a farmer, and I'm assuming you mean, you're live streaming it, so anyone could see that, it is a risk. So you can do it if you want. I might do it in certain areas, but whenever you live stream to the public or you let the public in your farm, you're going to get hostile. You're going to get crazy people saying crazy things. Just for instance, so our tour, the only way people get in our barn is through a live tour where we are there with them explaining things, which we do once a month through the summer months. And even then, I think we have incredible practices on our farm where, we put the health and safety of our animals and people first, and the happiness. We make sure our animals are happy and all that. And still, when we're giving a tour and we come up to the chicken tractors where we have chickens that they're in a 10 by 12 tractor. It's about 2.5 feet tall, and it's moved to fresh grass every day. They're confined, they're safe. There's so many positive reasons to have chickens confined in the chicken tractor. And we will have people that are just horrified that we do that. They think it's inhumane. They're not going to become customers, even though we're trying to educate them. And usually we are able to educate them in the end that, we have coyotes and raccoons and skunks and owls and hawks and eagles in our pastures on a daily basis. So the chicken tractor is the best way for the safety of the animals. We also have a livestock guardian dog out there, but that along with the chicken tractors keeps them safe. Well, a lot of the public still doesn't get that. And so just so you know, as soon as you start doing live broadcasts from your barn, you're going to get people condemning you for your practices, even though I'm assuming you are trying to do the most humane thing as possible. So especially, on a birth, let's just hope the birth goes okay. People, I don't know, I think I'm going to leave that up to you. That's not something I would do, but I think it's okay. Just expect a lot of backlash or, potential backlash from people thinking it's inhumane. I've seen so many, and with the internet, and people able to comment, people say all kinds of things. So you may want to protect yourself from that, because I assume you say it's clean and all. I assume you're doing the absolute best job you can, and you don't always need to let the public in just to criticize you. So that's my live training for today. It was about 20 minutes. Yay, I'm trying to get them shorter. Just if you have any more questions, I'll be on here just a little bit longer. Go ahead and ask. We've covered advertising and why that doesn't work anymore, and why you should be developing relationships with your customers, and live streaming things on the barn. And remember, all these videos are housed at the top in our files section. Go to the top of the Profitable Farm Facebook page, click on files, and you'll find them all there. If you didn't watch the Facebook one from last week, it's huge. It's so good. I got so many comments from people. It was beneficial, and I'm sure there's a really good chance that you need to change some things on your Facebook page. So listen to last week's. It was so good. And you're welcome, Lori. You're welcome, Wendy. Thank you, everyone. And I'm going to click finish, and I will see you over in the Facebook group and live again next week. Bye-bye.